In today's video, we'll be learning the 50-30-20 budgeting rule in depth, including how it works, its limitations, and how to implement it to manage money more effectively and build a financially sound budget. Stay tuned to find out. What is the 50-30-20 rule? These days, learning about budgeting and personal finance can be quite overwhelming, considering all the updated trends, techniques, and apps that keep getting tons of attention. But despite the long list of money managing techniques available at your disposal, there's still a chance that you might struggle with forming a personal budget. If that's the case, you might want to take a look at the 50-30-20 rule. It's probably one of the simplest, most straightforward budgeting rules out there that's beneficial for beginners and money-savvy individuals alike. The rule acts as a set of guidelines for planning your monthly budget, since it tells you exactly how much to allocate to your living costs and savings each month. The 50-30-20 rule was first introduced in 2005 by U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren and her daughter Amelia Warren Tyagi in their best-selling book, All Your Worth: The Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan. So what exactly does this rule say? Well, the basic idea is to divide your monthly after-tax income into 3 spending categories: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings or paying off debt. This budgeting strategy allows you to build more structure in your spending habits, making it easier for you to balance your expenses more consistently. Also, since you only have to consider 3 categories, you won't be spending hours tracking your monthly expenses or digging deeper into every single transaction. In other words, it'll be much easier for you to keep your expenditures in check and stick to a budget. Now, let's dive a little deeper into the 50-30-20 rule. First, we'll take a look at the largest category, which covers needs. According to the 50-30-20 rule, 50% of your take-home income should cover expenses that you can't avoid, or expenses that are necessary for your survival. This includes essentials like monthly rent, utilities, basic groceries, mortgage payments, car payments, insurance, healthcare, and transportation. In other words, these are your must-haves. There are also some additional things to keep in mind for this category. Firstly, it's possible that an individual has a necessary monthly budget that isn't mentioned in this category. Secondly, if your needs are taking up more than 50% of your after-tax income, you'll have to take some measures like using public transport or carpooling, saving money while grocery shopping, or switching your insurance to a pay-per-usage policy. Next, you should budget 30% for wants. This category includes expenses like hobbies, dining out, vacations, gym membership, entertainment subscriptions, and shopping for non-essential items, so you can enjoy life and have fun while still maintaining your budget. Keep in mind that you shouldn't be spending 30% of every paycheck on wants, but rather consider it as the maximum limit to spend on fun. Finally, the last and probably most important category is savings, which should ideally hold 20% of your after-tax income. This includes building an emergency fund or savings account, investing in the stock market or mutual funds, as well as saving for retirement. Savings can also include additional payments to pay off your debt or any remaining balance. How to implement the 50-30-20 rule. Once you've thoroughly understood the 50-30-20 rule, the next step is to know how you can implement it practically. You can start by calculating your after-tax income and then dividing it into the 3 spending categories. Let's say you're splitting $2,000 into needs, wants, and savings. After applying the 50-20-30 rule, you'd allocate $1,000 for needs, $600 for wants, and $400 for savings. Once your calculation is complete, you can start planning your budget around these figures and adjust the next month's budget to match the 50-30-20 rule. You can also test your new budget for 2 to 4 weeks to see if it's long-lasting and realistic for your household. If not, you'll have to assess which of your wants can be cut back on, because staying within the 30% limit is the only way to afford your needs and hit the 20% savings target. Does it always work? Now, you might be wondering, does the 50-30-20 rule always work? Well, just like any other budgeting strategy, this rule does come with its own set of limitations. The rule may be a useful framework for making better financial decisions, but it's not exactly ideal for those with very low or high incomes. According to Chief Financial Analyst Greg McBride, many households may have difficulty implementing the 50-30-20 budget because they're currently hemmed in by high housing, insurance, and childcare costs that push them well above 50% of net income. So this budgeting strategy might not be for everyone. But that doesn't mean it isn't worth trying. If you're a beginner, Greg recommends starting with the savings component by automating retirement and emergency savings contributions via payroll deduction or automatic bank transfer. From there, look to increase the amount you're saving with each pay raise and every time you pay off a debt. Another useful piece of advice comes from CFA and personal finance expert Chloe Moore. She says it can be hard to sort out wants and needs, and these categories are very subjective. For example, food is a need. Some groceries could fall into the need category, while other groceries or dining out could be considered a want.